So I'm here with Bill Baker from Baker Cadence Solutions, and we're going to discuss training today, both post-COVID and pre-COVID, and comparing and giving our thoughts on that. So good morning, Bill, and welcome.
Morning, Peter. Good to be with you.
So Bill, good morning, good to meet you. And would you mind giving us an overview of Baker Cadence Solutions?
Baker Cadence Solutions primarily sells software applications to law firms and corporate legal departments in the western states of the United States and Western Canada. We have an extensive practice with Rodox throughout all those states, with about 400 installations of Rodox over the last 20 years that we've been a reseller of the product.
That's great. So there's a lot of similarities actually, because DoxAdvisors, we're also very Worldox focused as the main thing that we do, mostly East Coast US and some Texas work. We actually got a lot of clients in Texas recently. So what do you think about the training, which is the topic today? Pre-COVID, what did that look like for your firm?
Well, I'm sure it was similar to what you were doing. We were doing mostly on-site training. Normally our Rodox rollouts were on-site training and then follow-on support, so we always had a person there. But now it's certainly changed with the COVID environment.
Yeah, I mean, we were the same. So I'd be heading into New York City probably once a week or so to hit clients and be in their office. And of course, that whole world has now changed. So how do you see yourself adapting to training now post-COVID?
Well, it's surprising that we've been able to change our technique and use the remote access capabilities to like Zoom or like Teams um, to provide the same kind of training. We just aren't on site, and so the level of it has been good. I mean, the firms that we've installed Worldox in are able to go forward and to use the product without any problems.
And again, it's very similar for us. Again, we've had to go to remote training, and it's amazing how quickly that became acceptable. I mean, in the old days, you had to be on site, you had to be there, and there's no doubt that being in person is better. But it's incredible how effective it can be, though, over Zoom or over another technology like that with Teams or Zoom.
That when we did on-site training, the attorneys who didn't have time to learn, didn't want to take the time, now don't have that option. They have to learn it. In the past, they always tried to avoid it. We had to have special sessions, but now they can't not have the training.
No, it's true. They're kind of forced into stuff nowadays in a way, and especially when everybody's remote, that they're not having somebody next to them. They can just do everything for them.
An earthquake happened sometime right around March 15th, and it shook the whole legal market. And they've had to adapt, and we had to help a lot of firms to get remote access to their documents, and able to do that pretty quickly with all the features in Worldox.
And in fact, that was one of the advantages of Worldox, because I worked with a lot of IT firms that were scrambling on other software and other things that were really a big struggle at that time.
And what I also see is that partners are willing to spend more funds now for training. Before training was just part of the introduction of Worldox, but now they want to make sure that everybody knows it well and can get the benefits of it. So they're willing to invest more in training, and it also shows their employees that they have an interest in them, that they want to make sure that they can use the products that they purchased.
And really, that's the way it should have always been, because really when we go live, you have what I call survival training. So we got to get them culturally changed to this new system very quickly. And it's usually a few days before they go live, or the day of going live, or shortly after. And then they need more after that. They need 2-3 months in, they're able to absorb more because they know the basics of how to use the steering wheel and the accelerator and the brake. But now we've got to get more subtle things that they're now able to cope with that they aren't able to cope with day one. So it's really making them do what they should have been doing all along.
You know, one of the things that we're doing more of, and I'm sure you are too, is we're using videos rather than just the on-site or the remote training, because we found that they need to have more follow-up and more preparation before we go in. we've, along with you, adopted the Rodox Academy. And I think that's a great solution for not only preparation for the training, but the follow-on review of the training after we provide the training.
Absolutely, and it's definitely providing a lot of value because we're using it now to get people sort of softened up on the technology so they can watch it a week beforehand, get all the basic stuff down, and at least be exposed to what it looks like. And then when we do that Zoom meeting, it's a lot more effective because they've already sort of seen the basics of it, and then we're just reinforcing that for a second time. And then afterwards, because they only retain about 10-20% of what we cover, we cover quite a bit in the training, and you can't retain it all. So the fact that they can go back afterwards, and basically it's the same training in the videos that we do on site, and with even more tips and tricks. So that allows them to go back and pick and choose and hunt and peck for what they need at the time that they need it.
So with this, they can go back and review it and not have to ask for help. So it really is a good tool.
I was recently at a client where they had a peer train some people. They would have been so much more effective out of the box than just depending on the people that are next to them. So some of them are very good, obviously, and some of them are quite expert, but the vast majority really know the basics, but not really the correct way to train people or to teach them how to search so they can get the maximum benefit.
Exactly. You want to be able to have your questions answered by the person who knows the true answer.
So one other aspect of the training, of course, is that companies should invest in their people, right? I was in a mid-sized company before, and it was much easier for us to retain people if we trained them and showed them that we were concerned and interested in their growth. Because if you lose an employee, it's 50% to 150% of their annual salary to replace them. So when people tell me they can't afford more training or they don't think it's that important, I just don't understand that, because it's a big help for retention, and especially in these times when people are at home. You definitely want to be having that touch point to people, and providing a course for them like the Academy is a perfect way to show them that they're interested in them, they want them to improve, they're trying to improve their skills, and it just shows an attention and a care for them that pays off massive dividends for a very small amount of money.
Yes. Yeah. When we do a quote for a Rodox system, say for 20 users, um, the cost of the services, not only the installation and configuration, but then the training and support of the users as they first start to use it, is much more than the cost of the software. And people say, why does that have to happen? And I always use the analogy of brain surgery. I say that when you're installing a document management product, you're doing brain surgery on the firm, because you're dealing with all the firm's documents and all of the information that you have. And so it has to be done right the first time, and that the patient has to be alive after the surgery. And so when you have the right people who know how to deliver that training and have had success doing it in the past, it's just like buying an insurance policy. You will live after the surgery. You will be okay. And you can go forward using this new tool that was going to save you a lot in terms of productivity.
And it's about risk mitigation. Like, I mean, at these days that we're living in, risk and do you go eating out or not? A risk is a big thing, and it's always been a part of firms to assess risk. And you're right, you're guaranteeing a more successful rollout. There's no question.
And I'm always surprised too by the resistance to change. And a document management system is something new and changes the way that you've been saving documents for many years if you're using Windows folders. And so we've been able to overcome that because we see it so often, and we're able to handle it, and we're able to handle those objections.
And especially for the soft skills that we have, not just our technology knowledge, but I always tell people there's going to be a few cubes where smoke is coming out of the cubes, right? Because people are struggling. And it's often not the people you expected. Sometimes they expect it to be a certain person, but it's actually somebody else that struggles. So to be able to go in there and quickly put that out and just give them that extra love for a few minutes, to show them a few bookmarks, a few techniques that they can use quickly, just transforms their acceptance and their comfort level. You want a good surgeon in there helping you be successful.
And I like to actually handle those situations where we have somebody who's resisting or doesn't think that they need it, because I get a satisfaction after I spend some time with them one-on-one to have them say, you know what, you're right. This is really
Yeah.
a better way than what we were doing before.
So the people that are struggling, really, that's true. That's what gets us out of bed in the morning, is to see them turning around and be enthusiastic endorsers and embracing the product. I mean, you can't beat that satisfaction.
No. And you know, so many of our Rodox referrals come by the way of somebody leaving a firm where they had Rodox. Either they moved to a new area or they just changed firms. And now they realize this firm doesn't have this document management capability. And so they insist on at least looking at it because they miss it so much.
Yeah, and it's true for attracting people. I mean, if you're going into a company that's got files and folders and you've been using a document management system of whatever kind, they can't go back to that world. It's like a drug. Once you have it, you can't live without it.
That's right. And if you have it and you go from firm to firm, you bring that value with you.
So how do people get this wonderful academy we've been talking about now? How are they going to acquire that?
We have it on our website. The user can navigate to Rodox Academy on bakercadence.com and just sign up for as a single user, or they can sign up for many users. Once they sign up and put in their credit card information, that will give them a token as to how to log in and start using the classes.
Yep, and we're the same on our site as well. You'll see DoxAdvisors.com, and we're going to put a QR code actually after this conversation to go to for each of our sites, so you can go, and obviously if you're a West Coast and with Bill, go there, and if you're on the East Coast or a client of ours, you can go to that. We highly recommend it. There's a huge value. You're investing in their future and their retentions. And any final words, Bill?
No, Peter. I think it's been good talking with you about this, and because you're a reseller on the East Coast and we're a reseller of Rodox on the West Coast, it's good to share these ideas.
No, definitely. And I mean, we're both motivated to make Rodox much more spread out throughout the world because we see the value. We see how happy it makes customers. These are fun projects. They're positive experiences. And we're just both out to promote the adoption of Rodox because we see the value of it.
I agree. It's a great product. Been with it for 20 years. And it's really evolutionized with a lot of capability that we didn't have. I mean, and better things coming. So it's a great company and a good product.
So Bill, thanks. It's great to be with you as always and to learn from you and to hear your perspective on training with so much experience.
Thank you, Peter. It's always good to be with you as well.
All right, take care. Thanks, everybody. And again, sign up. You just point your phone at the QR code coming up and get your academy active today.